Social media and online gaming are often framed as entertainment, but from a privacy perspective, they are powerful systems for identity, community, and behavior tracking. People share photos, opinions, and everyday updates on social platforms, and they also build friendships, rivalries, and reputations in games that can last for years. Beginners sometimes assume privacy risk is mostly about strangers seeing a post, but the deeper risk is that these platforms create detailed records of activity, connections, and preferences, and those records can be used in ways that users do not anticipate. Social platforms may monetize attention through targeted advertising and recommendation algorithms, while games may monetize through in-game purchases, social features, and events that encourage frequent engagement. Both environments can involve voice chat, live streaming, direct messages, and real-time presence indicators that expose when someone is online and who they are with. There are also risks unique to gaming, such as harassment, doxing, and social engineering through guilds and teams. Guiding safer practices means helping people understand how to reduce exposure, make thoughtful choices about what they share, and use platform controls in ways that actually change risk. The goal is not to scare people away from social and gaming spaces, but to teach habits that make participation safer and more resilient. Before we continue, a quick note. This audio course is a companion to our course companion books. The first book is about the exam and provides detailed information on how to pass it best. The second book is a Kindle-only ebook that contains 1,000 flashcards that can be used on your mobile device or Kindle. Check them both out at cyberauthor.me in the Bare Metal Study Guide series. A good starting point is understanding how identity works in these platforms, because identity decisions shape almost every other privacy outcome. Social media often encourages real names, profile photos, and links to schools or workplaces, while gaming often encourages handles, avatars, and sometimes voice or video that can reveal identity over time. Even when someone uses a pseudonym, patterns of posting, friend connections, or reused usernames can link identities across platforms. In gaming, a unique handle can follow a person across games, forums, and streaming channels, creating a persistent identity that is easy to search. Beginners often think the main choice is real name versus fake name, but the more useful question is how linkable the identity is across contexts. Linkability increases when the same profile photo is reused, when accounts share email addresses or phone numbers, or when social accounts are connected to gaming accounts for convenience. Safe guidance helps users choose identity settings that match their goals, such as keeping a separate gaming identity from professional or family identities. It also emphasizes that privacy is not only about hiding, but about controlling which parts of life connect and which parts stay separated. Personal information sharing is another major risk area, and it often happens in small pieces that feel harmless in isolation. Posting a photo of a new car, mentioning a neighborhood, showing a school logo, or sharing a check-in location can reveal far more than intended when combined. In gaming, personal details often leak through casual conversation and voice chat, like mentioning a city, a school schedule, or a workplace, which can be used by harassers or scammers. Even a time zone or typical play schedule can become a clue for stalking or targeting. Beginners sometimes believe that if they do not post an address, they are safe, but privacy risk comes from inference and aggregation. Safer practices include being mindful about background details and photos, avoiding sharing precise routines, and treating direct messages as potentially permanent records even if they feel private. Guidance should also emphasize that screenshots exist and content can travel beyond the intended audience quickly. The point is to help users develop a habit of asking what someone could infer from what they are about to share. Privacy settings are often presented as the solution, but they can be confusing, change over time, and sometimes provide less protection than users assume. Social platforms commonly offer controls for who can see posts, who can message, who can find an account by phone number or email, and whether location or activity status is visible. Games often offer controls for voice chat, friend requests, party invites, and whether match history is public. The key to safer guidance is teaching users to focus on high-impact settings first, such as limiting who can contact them, controlling visibility of personal information, and reducing discoverability. Another important practice is reviewing settings periodically, because platform updates can introduce new defaults or new sharing options. Beginners often set preferences once and assume they persist forever, but platforms are dynamic and controls can drift. Safer practice also includes understanding that private accounts still generate data for the platform itself, and privacy settings usually control visibility to other users, not data collection by the service. Guidance should be honest about what settings do and what they do not do. Account security is foundational because if an account is taken over, privacy controls and careful sharing habits can be undone quickly. Social media accounts and gaming accounts are attractive targets because they can be used for scams, harassment, or theft of digital goods. Password reuse is a common weakness, and many beginners underestimate how often credential leaks happen across the internet. Using multi-factor authentication, MFA, where available can significantly reduce takeover risk, especially for accounts tied to purchases or valuable inventories. Account recovery settings matter as well, because attackers often target recovery methods like email access or phone number control. Another good practice is reviewing connected apps and services, because social logins and third-party integrations can provide paths for access if they are compromised. In gaming, connected accounts may include platform accounts, payment methods, and streaming services, which increases the impact of takeover. Safer guidance frames account security as part of privacy because it protects personal content, social graphs, and purchase history from being exploited. It also emphasizes that protecting the account protects friends and followers, who are often targeted through compromised accounts. Harassment and social engineering are major risks in both social media and gaming, and they can create privacy harms even without technical hacking. Harassment can include targeted insults, threats, coordinated reporting, and attempts to extract personal information through intimidation. Social engineering can include fake friend requests, impersonation of moderators or support staff, and scams that trick users into sharing login codes or personal details. In gaming communities, attackers may exploit trust within groups, asking for verification details or encouraging users to join voice chats where they reveal information. Beginners sometimes assume privacy is only about data, but privacy is also about safety, and social manipulation is a common pathway to harm. Safer practices include being skeptical of unsolicited messages, avoiding sharing verification codes, and using platform reporting and blocking tools early rather than waiting. It also includes recognizing grooming patterns, especially in communities that include younger players, where attackers build trust slowly. Guidance should normalize the idea that stepping away, muting, blocking, and reporting are not overreactions, but healthy boundary setting in hostile environments. Location and presence features deserve special attention because they can expose when someone is active and where they might be, which can create real-world safety concerns. Many platforms show online status, last active times, or presence indicators that reveal when a user is available, which can be exploited by harassers or controlling partners. Some apps share location through check-ins or location tags, and some games show region or server data that can narrow down geography. Mobile devices can also attach location metadata to photos unless settings prevent it, and that metadata can persist even if a post looks harmless. Safer guidance helps users decide whether to hide online status, limit who can see it, and avoid sharing real-time location publicly. It also encourages delaying posts about travel or events until after leaving a location, which reduces the risk of being tracked in real time. Beginners often share location for convenience or social validation without realizing how it can be combined with schedules and social graphs. Managing presence and location exposure is one of the simplest ways to reduce risk without changing how someone enjoys the platform. Data collection and targeted advertising are part of the privacy story on social platforms, and increasingly part of gaming ecosystems as well. Social media often collects engagement data, clicks, viewing time, and interactions to shape recommendations and advertising, and this can create detailed inferred profiles. Games may collect gameplay behavior, spending patterns, chat logs, and social interactions to support matchmaking, moderation, and monetization strategies. Beginners sometimes think the risk is only what they explicitly post, but the platform also learns from what they watch, what they skip, and what they linger on. Safer practices include using available controls to limit ad personalization where possible, being mindful about connecting accounts across services, and understanding that free services often monetize attention and data. Another important practice is limiting permissions on mobile devices, such as location or contacts access, unless needed for a specific feature. While individual users cannot fully control platform-level profiling, they can reduce unnecessary data sharing by choosing conservative settings and by avoiding unnecessary account linking. Guidance should be realistic, acknowledging that platforms still collect data, while empowering users to shrink their data footprint where controls exist. Online gaming adds unique privacy considerations because of voice chat, live interaction, and the cultural norms of many game communities. Voice can reveal age, gender, accent, and emotional state, and it can be recorded by other players or by the platform for moderation. Many games encourage team play, which can lead to sharing personal details casually, especially in long sessions with recurring groups. Streaming and clip sharing can expose usernames, friend lists, chat messages, and even private notifications if a streamer is not careful about overlays and screen settings. Safer practices include using push-to-talk settings where available, limiting voice chat to friends, avoiding sharing personal details in random lobbies, and being cautious about what appears on screen during streams. Another gaming-specific risk is in-game economy fraud, where scammers try to trick players into trading valuable items or sharing account access. Beginners often underestimate how financially motivated attackers can be in gaming spaces, especially when digital goods have real value. Guidance should connect these risks back to privacy because scams often begin with information gathering and trust manipulation. Children and teens require special attention in safer social and gaming practices because they are more likely to share impulsively and may not recognize manipulation. Family accounts, shared devices, and parental controls can help, but they are not a complete solution if the child is active on multiple platforms. Safer guidance in this context emphasizes teaching boundaries, like not sharing names, schools, schedules, or locations with online acquaintances. It also emphasizes recognizing grooming behaviors, where someone gradually increases intimacy and requests personal details or private communication off-platform. Another key practice is encouraging youth to report uncomfortable interactions to a trusted adult and to use blocking tools without guilt. Beginners sometimes assume privacy is a purely technical skill, but for younger users, it is often a social resilience skill. Even adults can benefit from these principles because social engineering does not only target children. A privacy-minded guide helps families and communities treat online participation as something that can be joyful and safe when boundaries are clear and supported. Guiding safer practices also means understanding the role of digital permanence and reputation, because social and gaming footprints can follow someone into future contexts. A joke post, a heated argument, or a clip from a stream can resurface years later, and it can be interpreted without the original context. In gaming, chat logs or voice recordings can be shared and used to harass, and in social media, posts can be screenshotted even if they are later deleted. Safer guidance encourages users to think about the audience beyond today, including future employers, schools, and communities, without turning the conversation into fear-mongering. It also encourages taking control of old content, such as reviewing past posts, removing unnecessary personal details, and limiting who can tag or mention them. Another important practice is separating public-facing personas from private communities when possible, which reduces the risk that a public argument spills into private life. Privacy is not only about data protection. It is also about protecting the ability to grow and change without being permanently defined by old moments. Safer social media and online gaming practices come down to a combination of good habits, realistic expectations, and using controls that actually change exposure. The most protective move is often identity separation, keeping different parts of life from being automatically linked through reused handles, photos, and connected accounts. The next is mindful sharing, recognizing that small details can add up, and treating private messages and voice chats as spaces where information can still travel. Strong account security, including unique passwords and MFA when available, protects both privacy and community safety by preventing takeovers. Settings matter, especially those controlling who can contact you, what presence information is visible, and how discoverable your account is. Harassment and scams are best handled early with blocking and reporting because engagement often fuels attackers. Location and real-time status should be treated as sensitive, and posting delays can reduce real-world risk. If users combine these practices with periodic reviews as platforms change, they can enjoy social and gaming spaces while dramatically reducing unnecessary exposure and preventable harm.
Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit baremetalcyber.com.